Hey, grade 8s. How's everybody doing today? So today's lesson is going to be about dividing whole numbers and fractions. My goal is to have this video done in under 6 minutes. So let's take a look at today's lesson. Two key points to think about today. You're going to see examples where we divide a whole number by a fraction. And when that happens, I just want you to think about like sharing. So like 3 pizzas divided by half slices. So how many pizzas or how many slices does each person get, right? Or the second key point is dividing a fraction by a whole number. So in this case, you have half a pizza and you divide it by 2. It's the idea of grouping it and like how big would each slice be then. So let's explain that a little better here in this PowerPoint. So when you think of division, I want you to think about 3 pizzas divided by 3 people. In this case, here you go, 3 pepperoni pizzas divided by 3 people. Each person gets 1 pizza. Now, that's some division you would have worked on in previous grades. Let's take a look how we can do some grade 8 work here for you. Okay, so now take a look at it here. So what happens when the second number is a fraction in a division question? So in this case, you have 3 pizzas and you want to cut them in half. So how many slices would that be? So you can look right here. We have our 3 pizzas. We cut them in half. And if you shared it with everybody, 6 people would get to eat pizza, right? So there's one example. Now, I want you to take a look at this. How could we use a number line? Well, we're going to work a lot today with the number line to help us divide whole numbers by fractions. All right. So in this case, let's take a look at this next question here. So let's look at 3 different questions. The first question is 6 divided by a half. So if I get out of here, I want to go to my number line, which should be right here. Now 6 divided by a half. So what I want to do is I just keep adding these red arrows here. And I'm trying to go quick here to keep under my 6 minutes. You will notice that as I add all of these would be 6 divided in half would be equal to 12. I should have 12 of these here. Okay, so that would be an example of 6 divided by 12. Now, if we go back to this PowerPoint I had here, the next question for B is 6 divided by 3 halves. That's actually bigger than a whole. So let's go back here to our number line. Now, if you see, I actually have 3 halves is equal to 1.5. So I'm going to keep going here. There's that. So 6 divided by 1.5 is actually equal to 4 pizzas. All right. So let's look at our last question here. 6 divided by 5 halves. Wow, that's a big slice of pizza. Let's go back here and take a look at that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this actually works out to be 2.5. Now, watch what happens here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And we see a little problem here. Watch this. Too much, too big, right? Now, I want you to wrap your head around this point. This is difficult. This is as tough as it gets right here. So back here, the question was 6 divided by 5 halves. Well, if I go here, how many whole slices would I be able to give somebody? 1, 2. So our answer is going to be 2 and something here. How many more jumps is it to 6 right here? 2. And how big was each jump in the first place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That becomes our denominator. So how many jumps did we have left to get to 6? 2. Well, 2. And it was out of 5. The jump was 5, so it's 2 2/5 would be our answer. Okay. Okay, so take a look here. 6 divided by 5 halves is actually equal to 2 2/5. Now, take a look at this question right here. What happens if the first number in an equation is a fraction and the second number is a whole number? So in this case, you have half a slice of pizza left and you want to share it with 3 people. Well, that's where it gets a little more complicated. So right here, this red dot in the top number line is actually, I put it at a half, okay? And now if you're sharing with 3 people, you have to cut that half slice into 3 equal shares. And that's what's represented with the purple dots there. And then the bottom line, I want to know is how big is each slice that the people are going to get? And in this case, it's going to be a sixth. Now, I went really quick there. The one thing, the confusing part is how did I get from a half to 3/6? Well, if I go back to this question, what I do is a little trick I do to figure out how I should break my number line into what type of fraction, halves, quarters, sixths, eighths, hundredths. I multiply the 3 and the 2 really quick together, and that tells me 6. So if I go back here, 1/2 is equal to how many sixths? In that case, it's 3/6. And then I just divide my number line right here, and that should work out for me. If I would have divided it by 4, I would have divided my number line into, it would have been divided into fourths here. So I would have went 4 times 2. But in this case, I went 3 times 2, and that told me to break it into sixths, and I only needed to figure out how big one slice was, so it worked out to be 1/6. All right. Okay, grade 8. So this video is going to be on Google Classes. Tomorrow when you come to class, I want you to identify with one of 3 colors, okay? Green, red, or yellow, like a stoplight. Red, meaning, Mr. Norman, I watched the video, but I don't understand it. I'm going to need some help. Yellow is going to be like, I kind of get it, but I might have some questions. And green is good to go. Just give me an assignment and I'll start working. It's okay to start at a red and work your way up to yellow, maybe even get to green by the end of class. It's okay to start at green, realize I have a few questions, go to yellow, or it's good to start at yellow, get to green eventually. Okay, so there's going to be a question here to answer at the end, as well as identify what color you're going to be at for class tomorrow. Just put that in the private comment and we're good to go. I went slightly over 6 minutes, but I just wanted to explain that last part to you. All right, grade 8s, have a great Sunday. Don't eat too much Halloween candy, and I'll see you at class tomorrow.